Hi, everybody. This video was to walk you guys through your third essay assignment. And this essay, you guys read a number of texts about the Romantic movement, centered around the Romantic movement during this unit. And you've seen a number of really intriguing and very interesting characters. So in this essay, you're going to choose one or two characters to discuss from the text that you read in this unit. So that could be one text from one character from one text that you read. It could be two characters from the same text, or you could choose to look at two different characters from two different texts. The choice is yours. And I'm leaving this open because I want you guys to choose the characters in the text that are of most interest to you. So if you really liked Last of the Mohicans, maybe you talk about the two characters there. If you liked, say, Poe, maybe you look at a character from Poe. But you're going to think about ways those characters represent different ideas of romanticism, so different elements of romanticism. Or you can think about how they maybe show what's not in romanticism. So for example, if you wanted to look at, say, Hester Prynne and Pearl, Pearl is meant to be the embodiment of the romantic ideal. She's beautiful, she's young, she's creative and imaginative, and she's an artist, she's a free thinker and a free spirit, whereas Hester is very much a representation of the Puritan ideals, right? She's much more strict. She's much more focused on traditional religious aspects of her faith. She's, much more refined, I should say, or restricted, and much less free than Pearl. That's just one example. But you could choose, again, like I said, characters from really any of these texts. So you can choose characters from Lost Mohicans, from Longfellow's poetry, from Poe's works, or from Hawthorne in the Scarlet Letter. So you're going to draw on your understanding of characterization as a literary element. So I want you to be thinking about the specific terminology that you would use to look at these characters. So things like flat, dynamic, developed, passive, primary, secondary, protagonist, antagonist. There's a lot of different ways you can look at characterization. If you need a reminder, go back to that first unit essay on that first essay assignment sheet. It did have a full list of sort of ideas that you could use to analyze characters. So think about how these elements of characterizations, like whether they're flat or dynamic or round, or protagonist or antagonist, how they also play into other literary elements. So your primary focus should be on analyzing the character, but that doesn't mean you can't talk about things like symbolism or metaphors or similes or themes or motifs. You can absolutely bring those other elements in. Think about the setting, the plot, and use good, solid evidence from the text to support or illustrate your ideas. So once again, the idea is that you'll bring in good quotes from the text to show your audience what you're talking about. So for example, if you tell me that Montresor is an antagonist, and he represents this idea of this dark romanticism, you need to pull in a specific quote to show me why he's an antagonist. And that should be pretty easy to do. You are required to use at least one scholarly source to support your claim. There are many, 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 many scholarly sources on all of these texts. So again, use the TCC database to find the right source material. If, for example, you say you wanted to do Longfellow, I would say on any of these, the Scarlet Letter or Poe or the Last Mohicans, there's plenty written specifically on that text. The only difference may be for Longfellow, you may or may not find quite as many things about each specific poem, but you should find plenty on, say, a collection of poetry or Longfellow's themes or writings in general. So that's fine too. But you do need to have at least one scholarly source to support your claims. And in using that, do just like you did with the Poe analysis, bring in specific quotes from the scholarly source to help support your argument. And again, remember, you don't need to read every single page. You just need to skim to find the things that help support your argument. So your essay is due on Sunday, November 8th at, when I say midnight, I should say 11:59 p.m. Sorry, just clarify for you guys. 11:59 p.m. Your essay does need to be 3 to 4 pages and requires standard MLA, so that means to the bottom of the third page at minimum. You can always write more, you just can't write less. And remember that all essays are checked through SafeAssign, like I said, and they have to meet the minimum page requirement. And I've kind of already gone over this, but you can choose characters from really any of these works that we read in the course. And you're going to be graded on making sure you have a full development of your argument centered on close character analysis, and then how those characters kind of relate to or show specific elements of romanticism. Using the proper number of outside sources, so one scholarly source, which does need to be cited both in text and on the bibliography, and a full exploration of the work. So just meaning that you do dive into good, solid analysis around the text and the characters. Again, good evidence to support your claims from both the primary and the, apologies, is just one scholarly article. Proper MLA formatting and style, good depth of analysis and scholarly language. So again, pulling in that romantic language that we've learned in this unit, as well as the literary language around things like characterization, as well as other literary elements that you may choose to talk about. And then a good essay structure. So again, an introduction with a thesis statement, a couple of main ideas with good evidence to support an analysis, and then a conclusion as well. So if you have any questions, like I said, let me know. As always, do include a bib, like I said, a works cited or a bibliography, whatever you want to call it, which should include at least your scholarly source and whichever text or texts that you choose to analyze. And like I said, please choose the text and the characters that are of most interest to you. And if you want, like I said, you're more than welcome to compare, say, two characters from two different authors, or you can keep it within the same author. So best of luck, and let me know if you have any questions.